What's something not taught in school that you think should be? Conflict resolution, leadership skills, emotional intelligence, dialectical behavior therapy, finance. Excel. People can say financial skills which can go side to side, but I talking actual MS Excel and formulas and a spreadsheet. I literally have had to teach extra classes outside of my scope on what should be considered high school Excel to university freshman students so many times it's ridiculous. They turn up at university with no idea how to use a formula in a spreadsheet. It's needed for a lot of their classes. In college, I took a class that only helped me outside of college. Taught me how to set up a budget, dining etiquette, and networking. I wish they taught more of that in school. I took a class called Financial Algebra my senior year, and I think it was just a way to give a finance class a math credit. I took it as an elective because it would be an easy A. It was super helpful. We did taxes, learned about mortgages and credit, and I learned about secured credit cards, which I eventually used to obtain credit and buy a condo with, and sold last year. All because I took a class that was a super easy A, insane that it's not required. Practical life skills like budgeting, time management, and critical thinking should be taught more in schools. These skills are crucial for navigating adulthood but are sadly overlooked in traditional education. Media literacy. So many people cannot distinguish between opinion pieces and news articles, don't understand the reporting process real journalists use, do not use critical thinking to identify fake news, and simply don't take the time to determine if a social media account or website is trustworthy. It's astonishing how many people believe anything they read on the internet. Basic programming. So many people think programming is difficult or beyond their skill set. Seeing that it is relatively simple at a basic level, especially when you're at a young/moldable age, would change a lot of mindsets about accepting problems instead of just creating your own solutions. Tying health classes to PE should be mandatory. My daughter is an athletic trainer, and the number of students who just don't understand how their body works but still try to push athletically is bonkers. Just trying to communicate with the students about dietary choices is insane. Getting them to the point that they can advocate for themselves when their parents and coaches are pushing them to play through injuries is a whole nother thing. Bonus points for having hands-on cooking, first aid, and emergency response curriculum. How to have conversations face-to-face, and in general how to interact socially in ways that don't involve technology. I mean, technology is a great tool, but relying on FaceTime, phone calls, and texting takes away a big chunk of the human experience that we as a society used to take for granted. Also, how to have respectful discourse. Not forced respect out of fear or social obligation, but how to genuinely develop respect, empathy, etc. and employ them. Everything people are listing is what parents and other family members used to teach you. The teachers at school then taught you what your parents generally couldn't, because it requires certain specialized theoretical knowledge and teaching skills. So you're expecting teachers to take the place of parents. Would that be instead of what they are currently teaching or in addition to it? Because if instead, does that mean people wouldn't learn what they typically do in school at all, or alternatively, that would be taught by the parents? I don't want to live in a world where experts teach home economics, finances and self-defense, whereas clueless parents teach history, geography, maths, science etc. Do the rest of you? If you mean in addition to what school already teaches, then kids would not be at home at all. If schools are supposed to take over the role of the parent in this way, they must be given the time that is generally to be spent under parental authority. I don't want to live in that world either. Do the rest of you? The last 2 years of high school should actually be the classes needed to get an AA so that straight out of high school you can start working on your bachelor's. Or, opt out of that path and spend the last 2 years learning a trade so you can leave high school ready to work. That would be really useful for foster kids who get kicked out at 18 or non-foster kids who get kicked out at 18. In the US, over 60% of all homeless people were former foster kids. Also, they should teach you how to write a resume, how to interview for a job, how to do taxes, life skills. Basic life skills, financial basics, and critical thinking. Some schools do offer life skill and finance classes, but it is never mandatory, it should be. Not everyone will need geometry, but everyone will need to know how to cook, clean, budget, and pay taxes. Critical thinking skills should be worked into every class, though. How to understand how a house works. I finally had to light my own water heater. Thank God I knew what to do when I had a pipe bust under my house, know how to shut the gas off, water, and know to check your meter. Basic mechanic skills. I'm a woman and my dad always believed in teaching me these things, and boy am I glad he did. Self-defense. And like actual martial arts that are proven to work, none of that cardio kickboxing sh*t you see at the local strip mall. Kids should learn how to effectively avoid danger. Like, look how many dumb and lazy motherfuckers can't even teach their kids to look both ways before crossing the street. You got school buses with the legal power to pull out some flashing stop signs and suddenly all lanes of traffic must come to a halt. Absolute insanity. To appreciate art and poetry and such like. My education, until I got into university, was so boring and utilitarian. A good education should instill a sense of wonder and an appreciation of beauty. Making kids learn about taxes and resumes and banal C**AP like that just makes the world a little more gray a little sooner. Life is too short for that. How to use basic computer apps like Word. My students, college freshmen, come into class unable to troubleshoot problems, can't figure out how to indent or change paragraph spacing, or use Google to find answers quickly. It's mind-boggling how they have lived all their lives in the digital age and can't understand that double spacing and quadruple spacing are not the same things. It's like fish choking on water and drowning. I think students should be put in charge of things. We can say all this stuff about how people should be taught taxes and money management and stuff, but if the student doesn't care, they won't listen. This is the one thing about the apprenticeship education that were really good. You have to learn money so you can get paid. You have to learn about your products if you can't sell them. You have to learn taxes or you go to jail. Taxes, driving, how to apply to college or a job. I believe there should be dedicated class time for this. College essay writing, it's drastically different than what we're taught. Latin bases, I learned this in elementary school and it really put me ahead of my classmates in vocab and science, and basic first aid. All of the above, but particularly distress tolerance. Life is going to deliver you some C**AP. They need to know how to manage their feelings. Especially around bereavement, but also all the practical stuff around wills, planning, power of attorney, probate. Stuff nobody ever wants to learn but will be glad they know. Lastly, pensions. Career day needs to be totally overhauled. You need to back that garbage truck up to the school and give the kids a feel for it. Let them know they can make a comfortable living wage and retire in their 40s with their primary income and healthcare all set. Do whatever your heart desires for work at that point as you are still young. Give them a spin in a backhoe as a hydraulic operator or let them rig a crane, jobs where they can make $60K plus a year, and with union access, retirement benefits. There are many more of these undesirable jobs that a high school graduate can get into right from graduation, and in 4 years be making far more than most college grads that went to college because you need a degree without a vision of what they really wanted to do. For years after college grad is no longer an entry-level shill, a high school grad in a union trade will have 8 years of seniority, easy picks at job offers, and be 40% the way to retirement. Oh yeah, with no college debt. Not everyone needs to go to college, in fact some people probably shouldn't. That doesn't mean you have to live a minimum wage life. Criminal law and consequences. The school and parents should drill it into the minds of children that committing a crime ruins your life. I asked 10 coworkers in my professional office to define burglary and the sentence. Not one of them knew. This is a problem. By the way, parents, this is the message to your children starting at age 5. If you commit a crime, I will turn you in. I will hand over evidence. I will not bail you out. I will testify against you. I will not call or visit you in prison. You will not have a home here when you get out.